podcast. It is I and he, and we are here to spree. I don't know. I tried for the fourth time. Welcome. Hi. Doing another
Hi.
podcast.
Hello,
How are
everybody.
things?
Things are okay. How are things with you?
Things are okay.
You're looking good. Guess that medicine's working.
It is working. I just went to the dermatologist Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. For those who are watching this, you're not, I don't know what day you're gonna see this, but it's on a Tuesday that I went to my dermatologist. She got to look at my skin. I'm almost completely clear when it comes to my psoriasis. The only thing left is a little bit under my cheek here and a little bit under my neck, but
No,
everything else is gone. Things that I've had 20 plus years is gone in
looking
three
good.
months, 4 months.
Looking looking good, baby.
So I'm very,
Looking good.
very, 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 very pleased and happy to have brought that update. Um, it's just it's great. It's amazing. I'm still grasping and coping with the fact that I'll be on this my whole life, but uh it's quite worth it as of right now. So I'm
Yeah,
quite
well,
okay with it.
I'm glad you're happy.
So yeah. Um oh, I got an itchy. Okay. Oh, let's start it off with what you wanted to talk about.
Okay. Well, I'm down here in Florida, and my the people I'm with are lovely people, and you talk to them about a podcast. Half don't know what it is. You have to explain to them what a podcast is. Some will view it, some can't, you know, maneuver their way to watch it. But one question that always comes up is how come you do a podcast? And you really talk about it in the beginning of a podcast sometimes, or it's on the bottom of our podcast uh, in, initial initial introduction, where you say, "My grandfather and I decided to talk about things and everything." Well, that's how our podcast came about. I was very fortunate, or am very fortunate, to have a grandson that I can communicate with, and he would call me, and I would call him, and we would talk. And we talk about anything and everything. And naturally, it's not of interest to anybody but us. But we decided, because he's a techie and he has many podcasts out there, to make a podcast. Right now, I think we have 43 podcasts. And my friends, when I talk to them, one of the things that they always say, it's wonderful that you can communicate with a grandchild because we seldom even get a phone call. So, in doing this podcast, I hope it stimulates grandparents and grandchildren and grandparents and children, perhaps to communicate more, not necessarily to do a podcast unless they want to, but to communicate more because they don't know what they're missing in life. Because time goes by very quickly, and so are memories. Now, with that said, I didn't know what the hell a podcast was either. Peter introduced me to the technology and to the terms, and he still guides me in doing this. I try to do my best because he's kind of a professional. But I found a podcast that really, really stimulates me and I enjoy, and I want to share it with you all. One of the top podcasts in the United States is called Smartless. And there are three people who do it. Jason Bateman, who you might know for Ozark, and he's in his late 40s, and he's been a child actor all the way through, and Sean Hayes, who reached prominence in Will and Grace, and he's going to be on Broadway doing a show shortly. And Will Arnett, who's an actor comedian, and you may know him from Arrested Development, where he played with Jason Bateman. These three, Jason Bateman and Will Arnett, have been friends for 25 years, I believe. And Sean Hayes became friends with them about 20 years ago. And basically, what they do is shoot the shit. They sit around, they talk on their podcast that's on YouTube, Apple, and a few other areas. And they talk. Did you ever get it? Like, if anybody's listening, did you ever sit around the poker table and you start talking to your best friends, and a lot of it is fact and ranks with love? Well, these guys talk about everything, and they're so intelligent, but they also make fun of each other, and it's quite enjoyable. Now, in their podcasts, each person every week, because the podcast is done every week, brings on a hidden special guest. And right now, I think they've done 200 podcasts, and they also have a Smartless tour where they've gone to 6 cities, and I believe they are sponsored by Amazon and uh, something else. And I think it's a 3-year contract for $60 to $80 million. I think $80 million. Amazon picked them up because they wanted to increase their notoriety with their Amazon Music and some other ventures that Amazon's doing. So they hooked it in with this Smartless tour and the Smartless podcast. Now you could see this podcast for free and be comfortable with it and watch it on YouTube. And as I said, on Apple TV, it's free. And you can also see the tour for free of the 6 cities. Now, I'm not going to go over 200 guests, but I'll just give you an idea of the ones I enjoyed and give you a reason why. And like I said, they're about 45 minutes to an hour, and it's great to listen in a car, just like ours is. I mean, they're not getting $60 to $80 million. We're probably going to wind up getting 60 to 80 cents, but
If
that's
that.
if that. So the first podcast I heard between Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett, the guest was Paul Anka. Now, for those of you who are young and don't know who Paul Anka is, shame on you. He wrote the song for Frank Sinatra, My Way. He had many hits in the 60s when he was a teenager, Diana, and such. And the reason why I enjoyed the talk, he talked about how he was 15 years old, and he wound up meeting Sinatra. He wound up writing songs. He's a singer-songwriter. In fact, I think he was still touring. I used to catch him a few times with my wife, and he has a very good voice, but he's a fabulous songwriter. And he, talked about going to Las Vegas and the people he met and difficulties and the triumphs. So that, in a nutshell, he was on the podcast. Then I also listen to Adam Sadler, who's a hoot. So I don't have to tell you anything about Adam Sadler, but very interesting. Rob Lowe, was another one. And he was originally a member of the Brat Pack in the 80s. And he has a very, very long career. He's been on TV, still on TV now. He's doing a fire show, where he's a fire captain or something like that. Always been one of the best looking guys in Hollywood on TV. He's talking about his family and his son. Very interesting. One that I found very interesting was Ben Affleck. You saw that one, right?
I
Listened to
did.
that one, rather.
Yeah, I
Uh,
listened to it because I didn't get to watch it.
yeah, he talks about being 2 years younger than Matt Damon and growing up in Boston, and how they both would go to auditions and they became friends and they're best friends today. And he didn't talk about J Lo, that they didn't talk about, but they talked about growing up and he talked about the direction that he went with Matt Damon and getting the Oscar with Matt Damon uh, for their writing. Then another interesting one was Keanu Reeves. Uh, he talked about Matrix. Very mellow man. I mean, very mellow in his conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, a regular guy. Um, Enjoyed it because so far the one him and Ben Affleck, Rob Lowe, Adam Sandler, and Paul Anka would be somebody if you were in the car, even though they're very famous, you'd probably talk with them like they're your buddies. Okay, but Keanu Reeves, amazing. Uh, Talks about coming to Hollywood with very little money and how he got his start. And then somebody I really enjoyed, he originally was from Forest Hills, Queens, where I grew up, Jon Favreau. And I love Jon Favreau. He went, I think, to the Bronx High School of Science eventually. And then Queens College. And he does the movies he does, Peter, right?
John
Uh, uh,
Favreau?
yeah, he wrote Iron Man and
Yeah.
all of those.
He's Mr. Marvel.
Mr. Marvel, and he also did the movie The Chef, which I enjoy because I like to cook. And he's another guy, regular guy, and I like the way they shoot the shit. I mean, not only did they talk about what's going on in their lives in the past, but what's going on today. Um, Tracy Ellis Ross is the daughter of Diana Ross. I listened to her. She talked about her life growing up, which one would think would be wonderful and difficult, being the daughter of Diana Ross, who was a superstar. And for those of you who don't know who she is, she did Blackish. She was on the show Blackish. The most interesting of all of them was Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, uh, he talked about the Fabermans, which is kind of a little bit about his life. He talked about growing up, being Jewish, being bullied, uh, breaking into Hollywood. And I mean, he's the superstar of Hollywood. And again, I don't know if I was an actor, I guess I'd be honored to work for him. I guess every actor wants to. Then one of my favorite ones was John Krasinski. He does comedy. He did Jack Ryan, um,
He was in The Office.
The Office. Uh, I love his wife. Um, he did Quiet with his wife. You know who his wife is?
Yeah, Emily Blunt.
Yeah, I love Emily Blunt. I mean, she's not somebody who is a knockout gorgeous, but to me, I just think she is gorgeous. She has a great laugh, great personality, and he was talking about that. And then I really enjoyed him because he was very friendly with the three people who make up Smartless. A lot of these are very close friends of Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes and Will Arnett. Then it was very, very enjoyable to listen to Charlize Theron, who is, to me, one of the most beautiful women in the world. And she talked about her life in South Africa and how she came here and her roles and her Academy Awards, and but very interesting. Now the hoots. If you want to laugh while you're driving, Jack Black was on there, and Jack Black talked about his career and uh, the poker games that they would have on Tuesdays with the three interviewers, and where he was going, where he has been, and his children. And I'm just giving it a little synopsis on each one of these. Now, Jeff Bridges talked about his famous brother, Bo Bridges, his father, from Sea Hunt. And he has such a resume of movies that Jeff Bridges has done, such a big resume. He was sick lately, but he seems to have recovered. I could spend 20 minutes talking about his movies or more. That was good. Chris Pratt, very good insight towards Chris Pratt. He talked about his children, his child. He talked about having to gain weight for, what was he on The Office?
Yeah, he was in no, he was in Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, uh, and now how he keeps in shape. And I love his new movies, although I didn't like that in the beginning. And you know what that is, right, Peter? Those
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. And he married Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter. They have a kid. The one that surprised me the most was Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper talked about his early addiction to cocaine and alcohol. He talked about going to psychiatrists. He talked about his need to do work that's challenging. He started his big breakthrough as the Elephant Man that he did on Broadway. And since then, he's had a lot of great movies, including The Star is Born. They asked him, how could he do The Star is Born when he doesn't really play an instrument? He says, well, he practiced his air guitar, and they guided him in singing, but it was a challenge for him. He says, but, he always had a problem with self-confidence, and that's why he pushes himself. And that was the ones on the podcast. And the six ones that I'm not going to enumerate, I'm not going to talk about, but the six ones on the travel tour, which you can also see, they six cities, David Letterman, Matt Damon, Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell's out of his mind. Um, Kevin Hart, Mark Cuban, and Conan. Uh, were also very, very enjoyable. So, for those of you who have time after you listen to our fantastic podcast and you want to introduce yourself to, I think, might be in the top 5 podcasts in the country, go to Smartless. It's free, Smartless. And if Jason or Will or Sean are listening, I just gave you a plug. You can give us a plug. That's grandson talks to grandfather before he croaks. That was a joke. I'm sure they're not listening. So anyway, that's my part of the podcast. And again, for those of you where I started off, who say you're missing something in life, that your grandchildren don't talk to you enough, or your children don't. Try to stimulate them. Maybe they can help you. Maybe you could do a little podcast. Maybe you could try. You might surprise them if you bring it up. If they're willing and patient to teach you how to, do it, as my
And
grandson Peter has
well,
done.
and if they know how to do it themselves, they may not know how to do it themselves.
Yeah, well, I try. You know that I try.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the kids. The grandparents may turn around and go, "Hey, let's do a podcast. I like that idea." And the kids go, "I don't know if I can do that."
Yeah, well, that would be a shame. That really would
Well,
be a shame.
not everyone, just because we're young doesn't mean we're all as tech savvy. I've come to realize there's a crap load of people who are in the media field who don't know how to edit a small clip of video, or don't even know how to do this and how to set this up, or how to troubleshoot if something goes wrong. And
Yeah,
they've got full-blown jobs. So,
yeah.
you
And
can't.
with that in mind, I just want to say, Peter does the editing. He sets this up, and he has many podcasts besides this. On You have other podcasts besides this, not podcasts, streaming. You,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have, yes, you have streaming besides this. Peter's Left Brain, right?
Yeah, for now it's called that.
And you starting some other new streaming ideas. So I just wanted to say my grandson's very talented, and hopefully somebody other than myself will recognize it. So, Peter,
Thank you.
would you like to talk about what you're doing, or do you have something else to do?
No, we can talk about that. So, recently I've started streaming. I've started live streaming, I should say, because streaming is a colloquial term that has now been sort of indoctrinated into Netflix and Hulu and stuff, and that's considered streaming. But that is different than streaming as in live streaming, like Ninja, or um, people who play games and stuff, and do other stuff on live stream. Um, Aside from doing the podcast, I make TikToks and I post those TikToks everywhere else. And I started live streaming, and I do that 3 times a week for like 4 hours at the end of the day. That way, if I do end up getting a job, I can still work that job. Still waiting to hear back from 700 of them, but uh, I do the streaming, and right now I play just a few games because my computer's just not capable of handling other certain games. So I play a couple of games, um, hang out, chat, you know, there's only a couple people who come in at a time right now, but the goal would be to build a community that I can hang out with, talk to, and play games with, as well as discuss and partake in various conversations. Um,
What's the difference between that streaming and a podcast?
Podcast is a recording. So it would be the difference of doing radio versus podcast. Radio is live. It's if you fuck up live. If something goes wrong, someone leaks their phone number, someone gives personal information to the 100,000 people that are watching, or the 5,000 people, you just screwed up. You've got about a 2-second delay. And that's, or with radio, it's 7 seconds, but on computers, it's like 2 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Versus a podcast, if you say a bad word, or you say your home address or your phone number or something, I can edit that out. So the live streaming is live. It's a live performance. It's a live entertainment. And so if my internet goes down that day, the live stream ends. If my computer doesn't work that day, live stream doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like there's things to it. But I'm trying to be extremely consistent with it so that I may be able to build a discipline, but also I just I think that's the way to do it, is to slowly and to do small incremental improvements while being consistent. Um, I've seen that across the board for all forms of media. I would say all forms of media. That would be a best way to put it. Um, Something that every platform, every algorithm, everything always loves is consistency. So if you're going to post once a week, post once a week and do it. If you're going to do it 3 times a week, do it 3 times a week. Now, depending on the platform, it depends on what you're doing multiple times a week or little a week, right? Like if you're on YouTube, you probably would be, depending on your skill level. If you're low skill level and you're really new to everything and you're just trying to learn and grow as you do it, I would say medium frequency double coupled with consistency. So streaming 3 times a week is great. But if you are, or like posting videos 2 to 3 times a week would be great. But if you're someone who has a high talent or wants to make something that is a higher production, don't try and pump one great thing and then 5 crappy things. Just focus on the one great thing and make it good once a week. Make it good. That's the difference, right? And slowly work at that. But
What's
at
your
the end of
streaming? What's your streaming called?
my my YouTube name,
Yeah.
it's what you said, Peter's Brain Folds. It's currently, my TikTok is Peter's Brain Folds because originally the content, originally it was Peter's left brain, right brain, Peter's
Yeah.
right brain. Because
Right
I had
brain.
originally one TikTok account that I made a bunch of stupid crap on. It was funny and whatever. And then I made one video on that account that I gave some information regarding Childish Gambino, rapper. Guy's name is Donald Glover, and how he made a whole album that tells a progressive story, and how this album had a 72-page screenplay, which also had like a 15-page summary. And if you watch all the music videos, they describe the whole thing. And it was a whole Marvel level storytelling. And it did really well. It hit like 700,000 views. I was like, oh my God, that's my first like really cool video. And I liked the idea of fun facts and information that people may not know. So I made a second TikTok. And I realized because I have two, this one would be for the stupid funny stuff and this one would be for the creative stuff. So I did Peter's right and left brain. Peter's right brain being the, or left brain, whichever one was the correct, I don't remember. The um creative one is where I started doing fun facts. I started doing the history of colors, the meaning behind zodiacs, the all whatever, all different types of stuff.
So what are you streaming now?
Well,
Are you
yeah. So I went from that, and then I abandoned the first original TikTok and condensed my content into Peter's brain folds. So it's anything that puts folds in your brains and gets you going. Content shifted from fun facts to now news, right? Um, and then I wanted to start streaming. And as of right now, I don't have a name for the YouTube channel. I just carried it over from TikTok, so it's just Peter's Brain Folds because I also post my TikToks on there. I take my TikToks off of TikTok and I post them on YouTube. Um, and so the goal is to eventually come up with a name that's separate from that so that I can build that brand out a little more.
how about
But I'm,
how about Peter shoots the shit?
yeah, that's what I'll put as my my handle. No, I gotta come up with a name. So I'm in the progress of figuring that out. Once I come up with that name, I will feel much better with the streaming service, and I'll start streaming on multiple platforms. Like right now I just stream on YouTube. I want to try and
Mhm.
stream on Twitch and maybe a couple other places at the same time. But for now it's
Okay.
just YouTube. Um but yeah, what I stream right now is video games. I would love to stream other forms of content as well in terms of uh reactings, but also content in terms of news. Like I would love to, but that some of that requires an audience that participates, and I don't have an audience outside of like 1 to 3 people. So when I build an audience a little further and an audience that will participate, it will be a little easier to do certain things that I want, because the things that I want to do outside of games requires participation. It requires audience participation that I don't have. So otherwise I could do it, but I would just be talking to an empty void and it would feel kind of awkward. Um, Even though talking to a camera with 1 to 2 viewers is still kind of awkward, but nonetheless, for now it's just gaming, and it's a variety of games that I have, and I need to get a couple more games on my computer. But for now, just gaming.
Okay.
Um, and like right now, I'm talking on a nice microphone that I got. Um, but
I'm glad you said that was a microphone.
nice, nice. Yeah, no, that's a microphone. Oh my God. Yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting, and it is still a bit of a weird leap that I'm doing with this, because I've gotten tired of the application process. So I'm taking a break and I'm pushing for streaming because why not?
Hmm.
I think I've earned the right to make a shift here, and I am extremely privileged in this choice. But nonetheless, I do want to try and make a shift towards something else, because I've come to the realization in recent months that no matter what I do in life, I can truly say I am a creative. I am someone who needs to create things and make things and participate in creative actions. Uh, because it took until like a month and a half, 2 months ago, where I really started to like pay attention to the fact that every time I cut off a creative endeavor, or I stop doing something creative, or I get busy with a bunch of other stuff, an outlet for me to relax and an outlet for me to feel whole and feel myself has always been something creative. At one point, it was drawing. At another point, it was writing. At another point, it was using Blender and 3D modeling. And I still like Blender, but I haven't been able to use it as much because I'm doing other forms of creative stuff. And every time I would stop those creative things, I would hit a lull emotionally and internally. And my climb out of that lull always incorporated something creative. Always. That's why at college I had radio. I was creatively mixing and choosing different songs. Um, and then it transitioned to TikTok. And then when TikTok stopped, I started doing other things because I had stopped doing TikTok for like 6 months to a year, something like that. And so on and so forth. Every time I have stopped, I've always picked up something else. At one point, I was trying to reteach myself the ukulele. Like it's just, there's always a creative thing. Whether I realize it or not, I'm always pursuing a creative action. So I have finally been able to accept and come to the realization that I am a creative and need to create um, in life, whatever that may be. So we're pushing it, we're pursuing it. We're going to create content on live streams, and we're going to create an environment for people to join, hang out, and feel comfortable, and not feel like it's a place to be aggressive like some other live streams. And kind of similar to what we're doing on this podcast, which is creating an environment to just hang out and listen and participate. If you follow us, or if you comment something, if you're watching this on YouTube. But yeah, that's what the live streaming is, and it is surprisingly easier than a lot of people think. So long as you have a computer that can handle it, it is surprisingly easier than you think. Um, and can be cheaper than you think. Can be, depending on what you want to do. But yeah, I think it's a new step and it's a new thing. I've only been doing it for like 2 weeks. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. I wish you luck.
Thank you. So, but yeah, that's what it is. If anyone is listening and you have any ideas, um, no, actually, I'm not going to ask for your ideas because I'm just going to come up with something on my own for the name for my YouTube channel because I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, it's weird. It is very weird to discuss that and feel that and say that I am a creative because it feels weird to say that, I think in part because it's constantly looked down upon. But
Mm-hmm.
knowing that about myself does make me feel better and make me feel slightly more whole in the pursuit of who I am and what I am in life, being 25. Now I'm 25. Birthday was last Sunday. But
I hope you had a
nonetheless,
I hope you had a happy birthday.
thank you. It was good. It was a good, yeah. Oh yeah. So real quick, it was birthday was on the 28th of May. Happy belated birthday. It was good. Went to the city, got some food, hung out, went to the Harry Potter store by the Flatiron building. My girlfriend and my mom wanted to go really bad. So we went there. It was actually really impressive. As someone who likes Harry Potter, but is not like as crazy of a fan as they are, very impressed. Very, very, very well done with the environment and what they have in that store. They actually have a lot of memorabilia behind glass, so you can see like the original wand or the original like Ron's original wand from the movies that he used, right? Or the mask from one of the Death Eaters. All fun stuff. And then we went to like a couple bookstores, and then we came home and watched a movie and had a good time.
Good. Uh, Talking about watching a movie, did you watch uh, some of the new movies that you have to pay for yet?
Like in the
What's the one?
theaters.
Yeah,
No, I haven't seen any new movies in the recent time. I know actually, hold on, we're gonna take a quick break because Zoom's gonna kick us off. 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, you were talking about the movies that are in theaters. I have not seen no, I have not seen any movies that are in theaters. I really, really need to see John Wick 4. Absolutely need to see John Wick 4. I've seen
that's going to be streaming
when?
uh, this month, I think.
Oh, okay. So then I might wait. Yeah, absolutely need to see John Wick 4. I need to see Oppenheimer. With everything in my soul, I need to see Oppenheimer. Um, Barbie looks fun, and I'll see it with my sister and maybe my girlfriend if she wants to see it, but I know my sister really wants to see it. Um, and I know Barbie and Oppenheimer are sort of butting heads because they're both coming out on the same day. I think Oppenheimer is way better. I don't care. Barbie could be a comedy, great, get it. Ryan Gosling can be great at comedy, don't care. Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer. Um, Oppenheimer, Barbie, uh, John Wick 4, Meteor City. I really want to see Meteor City. Wes Anderson. That's coming out this year. That looks a crap load of fun.
What about
Um,
I forgot the name of it with Sigourney Weaver, her new the movie, the something the water. Uh, you know,
what?
where they put the person in the tube and they go to another world. I forgot the name of that movie. It was a
Oh,
big hit.
Avatar.
Yeah. Did you see it? Did you see it? I
I
forgot.
No,
Did you
you're
see it?
fine. It was just funny the way you described it. No, I have not seen it. I
Yeah,
do.
it's going to be on TV. In
Yeah.
fact, it's on TV now.
We've discussed I think we've discussed this one before, the implications and the problems that lie with Avatar and Avatar Way of the Water in terms of the fact that it's who's the director? Cameron?
Yeah.
He openly admitted to just taking a bunch of different tribes and cultures and just mashing them together, which is very white of him. And it is also just a very white savior movie plot. And it's overall just like the story itself is not super fantastic. At the same time, the CGI is otherworldly, and the visuals and the music is otherworldly. So there is a complex conversation, and this is something that I have really struggled with trying to fully grasp, right? When people were trying to boycott the Hogwarts Legacy video game because J.K. Rowling's a genuine piece of garbage. She's transphobic and she's against the entire queer community and a variety of other problems. People wanted to boycott the game and the movies. There's also thousands of people who worked on the franchise that don't align with J.K. Rowling and are just trying to be creative in something that they thought they loved and may not have realized that she was a piece of garbage. Because why would the set designer or the makeup artist for the filming of Harry Potter know that thing about J.K. Rowling?
Well,
Why would a guy
even if they know, it's hard to get a job. You know that, and if they can get a well-paying job, they'll do it.
Well, right, and especially if you're part of a union and
Yeah,
you're not you don't tell the union no because then the
yeah,
union tells you no. So
that's right. Yeah,
like the
it,
concept of boycotting something that the idea was founded upon by this person, but the work was done on the backs of all these hardworking people is a really tough argument. It's like when people got mad at the Weinstein films. And I'm like, if the film itself is truly a problem and there's a ton of people that are part of the problem, fine. But there's a lot of hardworking people that either had no idea this was going on or just couldn't get rid of it because they're a part of a union and they need the work. So they couldn't do it. So you still got to support those people. You know what I mean? Why
yeah,
are we taking
yeah,
down a whole industry over one guy? That one
yeah.
guy or that one girl is going to be fine. J.K. Rowling, no matter what you boycott, she's got millions. She's going to be fine. You boycott her game, she doesn't care. She could spend the rest of her life doing nothing but spending money and she'll
Yeah.
be
So
fine.
I'll say,
Boycotting is only a thing in my head. It's only a thing when you're dealing with products, right? A
yeah,
hairspray, a lotion, a food, something like that. Because that I would argue is different because you could say, oh, the factory workers, oh, the Walmart workers. Walmart workers don't get paid for that cereal. They get paid to just stock shelves and to handle the store. Oh,
right.
but what if the store closes? I get it. I get it. We can what if our way to equal ground constantly. But I think there's a significant difference when we're talking about visual media like music, like movies and content like that and video games versus a Walmart or a shampoo or a um, cookie or something, right? Like that, two different things in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Or if you got like now the writers' strike, which
which
a
may
lot
also
of
become
the
the actor strike.
yeah, which might become the actors' strike. If successful, uh, got to give them accolades. But if it's not, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. But
It's
you got to
that's
do
that's
what you
what
got
it
to
is.
do.
Well, but that's what happens when you've got companies that are bullshitting the hell out of you. I'm so tired of these massive companies like Netflix claiming they can't afford to pay their writers when the top 10 executives and board directors of Netflix are getting $50 million each. And that's not a random number. That is factual. The CEO and the top executives of Netflix get around $50 million a year as a salary.
Well, look at what I said in the beginning of our podcast with Smartless, a 3-year contract, $80 million.
Yeah, I when you were talking about it, I looked it up. It is Bloomberg valued it at 60 to 80 million dollars for 3 years. Now,
Yeah,
that doesn't guarantee, like, the way that money gets sparsed out, who knows? But that's a
still a
crap
lot of
load of
money.
money. That's a crap
Yeah.
load of money. Um,
So what do you? I won't watch these
so
big
so
budget
yeah,
movies.
let's go back to the main thing. Avatar. By all means, if you are against the plot, I think that's great. And I agree, because James Cameron choosing to make it about a white savior complex or concept is not great. At the same time, I'm still going to go see it because I want to see the visuals. I want to see the CGI. I want to see how great it has been, apparently. I want to hear the music. I really want to participate in that. It So yeah, I would love to see Way of the Water at some point. It's like 3 fucking hours. So I gotta find time to
Well,
sit down for 3 hours.
well, when you're at my house, should I rent it?
Maybe. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Um,
You know, I'll watch the
so
first hour and a half, and then you and Catherine and your mother could watch the rest and wake me up when it's over, and I'll say, "Boy, that was a good show."
yeah, I was gonna say, watch the first hour and a half, take a nap, watch the second hour and a half. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
this year, I remember late and early December, looking at the movies that were set to come out this year, and there is a lot of them that I'm quite interested in, and that says a lot because I don't usually go out and watch a lot of movies, and especially now that I watch anime, I'm more interested in anime because it's just more fun. Um, but which, by the way, Demon Slayer, for anyone who's watching, Demon Slayer new episode comes out Sunday. Um, it's
Where's
an
that
anime.
on?
It's a variety of places. It's Crunchyroll, where you got to watch it with ads unless you pay for it. You can watch it on
Oh,
Funimation.
that's it. You just reminded me. I want to get some sushi. I'm going to get a crunchy roll, a couple of crunchy rolls. I forgot what you call it. I'm going to order it. Yeah, crunchy rolls. That's
Hilarious.
right. Yeah,
Amazing. Thanks.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So, anyways, there's a lot of great movies coming out. The one that came out, Dungeons and Dragons, that looks like just plain fun. I think
Nah, I watched it. Terrible.
I think it's fun because I think you and I have slightly
Okay,
different versions of what fun is. I think
okay.
it seems like a cool idea, but it is a movie and not a TV show, so we'll have to see. The one that
Okay.
I remember my sister and I lost it on is Tetris. There's a movie already came out called Tetris, and it's got Taron Egerton as the main character, and it's rated R. What in God's name? Why isn't a movie about Tetris rated R? What the hell? So something about that, there's a mystery behind that I need to uncover. So I do want to see that. I saw Super Mario Bros. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that was going to be um so much worse. I had a lot of poor mindsets about it. It was very good. Very good. I had a really good time watching Mario. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 can go fuck itself. I don't care. Fast X, go fuck itself. It's the most I'm so tired of it. It's like the Transformers movies. I couldn't give a shit about Fast X.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Little Mermaid, I'll see it when it hits streaming. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I am actively going to go see that the same way I'm actively going to go see Oppenheimer. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the first one was outstanding. So
when is it? When is it coming?
Across the Spider-Verse is coming out on June 2nd. Oh, tomorrow. It's
Oh,
coming out tomorrow. Didn't know that. So
take
I will
Catherine.
be
Take Catherine to the movies this weekend.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. I might do that. Elemental looks like a cute, it's like a cute Pixar Disney movie. Um, I won't actively go see that until it's on streaming. I'll see that with Catherine. Oh, it's called Asteroid City, not Meteor City. Asteroid City, Wes Anderson. Um, yeah, really, really want to see that. Don't really care for Indiana Jones. Don't really care for Insidious. Mission Impossible can go fuck itself. Barbie, Oppenheimer, absolutely. Haunted Mansion, I do want to see. As someone who loved Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion early on, I do want to see this Haunted Mansion because I want to see how Disney redoes the Haunted Mansion and what that means for them to redo it. So yes, I would love to see that.
Oh, by the way, you just mentioned Eddie Murphy. This
Yeah.
yesterday, for about the third or fourth time, I watched Harlem Nights with Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and a host slew of comedians. I'm telling you, I'm surprised they all didn't get canceled. They use the N word, they curse, uh, the things that they say, and it was funny as all heck. You need a diaper to watch it.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it is warranted for canceling. And the term canceling is that's a separate conversation. The
Yeah,
idea
right.
of canceling has become such a term. It's like when a bunch of right-wing extremists like to say the woke mob, it has no value anymore. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
understand what you're saying though.
Yeah.
Um,
So you gave us
Equalizer 3 looks decent. The Creator looks decent. Oh, Dune 2. Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2. I need to see it. I need to see it. I'm currently scrolling through a list of films. That's why I'm listing all these off. Dune Part 2, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. It comes out in November. Absolutely, I will be seeing that as soon as possible. Um Hunger Games, go fuck itself. Marvels, go fuck itself. Napoleon. Joaquin Phoenix plays fucking Napoleon. Um,
Oh, he's also, by the way, on the Smartless podcast.
yes, I remember you told me that. Wonka. Wonka looks okay. I think I'd see it if someone invited me to see it, but I wouldn't actively choose to see it.
Willy
Uh,
Wonka?
uh, the new one. There's a new one coming out called Wonka, and it's Timothy Chalamet playing Willy Wonka,
Oh,
and it steps into the offbeat shoes of young Willy Wonka in his origin story. So it's how Willy Wonka becomes Willy Wonka, not
but
him as
who
Willy
cares?
Wonka.
Who cares?
What?
I didn't care. I enjoyed watching Willy Wonka, but who cares why he became Willy Wonka? I mean,
Well, right. That's why I said like
yeah.
unless it has rave reviews and it's like the best thing to ever come out, or someone invites me to see it, I'm probably not going to go see it.
Anything
Uh,
with Johnny Depp coming out?
Probably not. The Color Purple looks really good.
They're
Uh,
remaking it?
yeah, it's coming out in 2023.
Oh
Danielle
boy.
Brooks, Halle Berry, Fantasia Barrino, Taraji Henson, Louis Gossett Jr.,
It'll
her,
probably it,
HER.
it'll probably bomb because the first one was so good. They'll compare it with the first one.
I don't know. I wouldn't put that too far past because this is a decent lineup. Um,
Eh, we'll see. Very
Aquaman, go
dr-
fuck itself, and that's about it. Yeah. So my top contenders are Dune, Oppenheimer, Spider-Verse, and what was the other one I said? Fuck me.
Fuck me. That was in 3D, right?
Yeah. 4D.
4D. Oppenheimer. Um, that's about the bomb, right?
That's about Manhattan Project. Yes.
Yeah. Uh, there was a movie based on that. Oh, maybe 40 years ago. I think it was with Paul Newman. I'm not sure if that was the main character,
I
but
don't know. Probably. They probably did, but yeah, it's
Oh,
about the Manhattan Project and the bombs.
yeah, Manhattan Project. There was a movie, excellent movie. I just don't remember if that was the exact title, but
Oh, John Wick
that has
4.
that has to be kind of depressing.
What?
Oppenheimer.
I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna make it depressing. I think it's gonna be corporate action. What I mean by corporate action is it's not gonna be guns blazing, but it's gonna be high stress situations in office spaces or in spaces where the action is going to be high tension of like the bomb might go off and we fucked up or they're going to find us, the police are going to figure it out, or the this and that, not high action in firing guns, but high action in terms of internal action and trauma.
Yeah, I think
um
the first one I think dealt with now we've created it and we're going to use it. Now we got to be responsible for it.
well, that was like there's a video out there of the real Oppenheimer. He was reacting. He was the first YouTube react. He spoke. He watched his explosion go off, and he goes, and he basically was like something to the effect of, "This is awful for the human race. This is the absolute worst thing possible. But I had to do it because if I didn't, someone else was going to. So if anyone had to do it, I did it." Because he
Mhm.
he was like, "It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Someone is going to do it. I was called to do it, and if I don't, I'm gonna watch someone else do it because I know they're going to." Uh,
Yeah, well, I think that's God. If you believe in God, I think that was God's joke on mankind. He was probably laughing at it. I don't know how much good that did, but like you said, if he didn't do it, somebody would have done it anyway. And if there are aliens there, they would probably say, "Look at this stupid race. They want to destroy themselves." So anyway,
it is what
um,
it is. That's a whole morality episode that
yeah,
we could get into of the inevitability of things and can they be prevented if ever, and if so, how, and what is the result of those things and the ripple effects and the butterfly effect, shall we say, and so on and so forth. But we
yeah,
don't need to get into that.
yeah. You have to send Putin a list of your happy movies that you want to see because he made a statement this week that if we go over that line that he's drawn in the sand and provide more uh,
Assistance.
guns and assistance, we're headed for a world war. So shit
The one
happens.
I can't the one movie I can't send him is Oppenheimer, though. He might take notes.
Yeah. So we really went all over the place today, didn't we?
That's all right. That's the point.
Yeah, we talked about everything, which is good. That's why everybody should talk.
Yeah, that's why they should. I agree. So with that, we'll close it out and we'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like, love, and caress the channel and subscribe and comment and do all the things. Or if you're on Spotify and you're listening, follow and share and let us know why you hate or love the movies or any of the things we said. We'd love
Yeah,
to
we,
have
yeah.
participants.
Are we still on TikTok?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, everybody. Love you all. Peace out. May everybody think
Peace
of
out.
peace. Okay.